It is estimated that over the past 15 years, some 5 million people have died here in the Congo, one way or the other. But who really knows? Who knows how many millions have fled their homes without any hope of ever returning? As always, the fighting, or the fear of it, the sound of gunfire, has forced them out of their villages. They knew well enough the penalty of staying put. They had no choice but to run. Their villages are empty. There was no blueberry protection here. Their farmlands are wasted, returned to the jungle. Their livestock has been stolen and eaten by hungry soldiers. Occasionally we caught a glimpse of them in the villages, probably hoping that anything of some value might have been left behind. We didn't ask. It didn't seem wise to stay long.
Population has been very severely affected. They have basically lost their livelihoods. They have left their villages. You know, these are mainly farmers, so there has not been any farming going on for a couple of seasons now. Children are not going to school. People have lost their belongings. So I would say the overall effect has been extremely negative.
So they are forced to come here to the camps, like this one on the outskirts of Goma. Victims of war, yes, but also victims of bureaucratic bungling on an inhumane scale. How much aid is getting through to them is anyone's guess. There are over 20,000 people here, and there simply isn't enough food or aid workers to go round. It has become a quagmire of despair. Only the very young can smile, those who have known no other existence, and not knowing the dangers that constantly surround them.
Well, we are in a war zone, but you see, the normal rules of war differentiate between combatants and non-combatants. And therefore, the non-combatants, the civilian population, should not be subjected to abuse. The war should be between combatants. But what is happening in Eastern Congo is that those who have arms abuse those who have no arms. And that is against every rule and every ethical norm around war and warfare.
I was told it was wrong to call these people refugees. Because they don't come from outside the country, they are officially categorized as IDPs. That stands for Internally Displaced Persons. And as IDPs, they receive very little aid. So they scramble for scraps and sometimes mix grass and roots in what passes as soup. They are, on the whole, left to fend for themselves. And those who cannot are left to die.
One of the features of the massive humanitarian crisis in Eastern Congo is massive displacement of the civilian population. Even before the latest escalation back in November 2008, you had over 1 million people displaced in North Kivu alone. The escalation that we saw, that we've seen since then, has displaced more people. These people are totally insecure. They've collected in camps for internally displaced people, but they're not secure even in these camps.
If you could point to one single failure by the blueberries here, it is the lack of safety in these camps. For their own security, they patrol only during daylight hours, and then only randomly. If they were serious, they would visit day and night to stop government soldiers creeping in to loot and rape and sometimes kill. Who knows who's out there waiting to come in? The day after I was there, 2 children were shot dead by Congolese soldiers. This camp is bang in the middle of no man's land, with the fighting forces just a few miles either side of us. Not exactly the right location, you might think, to house over 10,000 refugees. These daily patrols, though, do give them a sense of safety, some assurance. Though what the blueberries would do if either side came rampaging through here is anyone's guess. Let us go back to our villages, they told me. We will risk the bullets. But there's enough killing here without sending these people back to a certain death. If they feel unsafe, they blame the blueberries, which is their job after all, to protect them. They may not like them, but who else can they trust?
We are the only military. That population, they are sure that they will not loot them, they will not rape them, they will not cause them any harm. We are the only one.
But his troops can't be everywhere. There simply aren't enough of them. So much of the countryside is unprotected, and the most vulnerable, the women and the girls, are at the mercy of that vilest weapon of war, rape.
It's really an appalling situation. We've seen it elsewhere in Africa, but I think in Congo, some of the details that have come out about the use of rape as a weapon of war have been particularly horrific.
The ferocity, the brutality of attacks on women and girls here is so widespread that Goma Hospital has a special unit devoted entirely to repairing their wounds and their wombs. Many have been crippled for life. Most will never be able to have children again. Here, in Kivu province, it is reckoned that 2 out of every 3 women have been victims, sexually, violently, murderously. It is heartbreaking.
I only knew of Monuc when I came here. I had never heard of it when I was in my village. Monuc only goes where there are roads, and my village is in the mountains.
Remote areas left to the murderers and the rapists.
It was during the night when the trouble started, and the Hutu militia attacked. They took everything from our house. One group took my husband, and another group took me. They took us to different places, and they raped me. I was pregnant. It harmed me.
They call this little collection of huts Hope Village. It's way outside Goma, and it only has one guard. Here, rape victims come to convalesce and find some comfort with each other.
I was pregnant. I ran into the bush with my husband, but the Hutu militia found us, and they took my husband away. They killed my father and mother. Then they raped me. I aborted and fell ill. 6 men raped me. Now I have undergone 5 operations without success. And they told me I will have another operation next month. Up to now, my husband has not come back.
Most of them have had to come here. They've been ostracized by their own families, outlawed from their own communities, as if they haven't been punished enough. They grow their own food, and they make dresses to sell in the markets. They are self-sufficient, and they survive. Can you blame the UN and its blueberries for this? Could any army cope with a country where respect for basic human decencies simply do not exist? It is too vast. The conflict is too overwhelming.
Would you excuse the cliche, mission impossible?
I don't believe it's mission impossible. It's mission difficult, but if it's impossible, why be here?
There may be some places which probably need some improvement, but you can't say it's been a mission which is impossible.
The UN and the other actors who are involved in this effort are simply not up to the job.
If there was no deployment, the situation will be the chaos.
Only Monuc can protect them.
The real easy thing, and everybody does it, is go round blaming the poor, bloody infantryman in a blue helmet because he can't do the job. It's not their fault, it's our fault. We haven't given them the mandate, we haven't given them the resources, we haven't given them the political will to do the job we've asked them to do. We've stuck them out front.
We should do more. We would like to do more. We do what we can with what we have, and we do the best we can, I can assure you.
Seeing what I have seen here, listening to what I've been told, I should be able to come to some conclusion. I cannot, except to ask, without Monuc, without these men in blue, what would you put in their place? Nothing and nobody is not an option. That is too dreadful to contemplate.
Yawa kumama,